right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Green White Checker TV. Tonight we have race number 2 of the Area 51 Sunday SuperTruck Series here tonight at Daytona International Speedway. Race distance scheduled is 75 laps. Drivers do have one fast repair in their back pocket should they need it, and of course 3 attempts of a green-white checkered finish should we need it. Last week 2 weeks ago we had a week off, obviously last week over the Labor Day holiday, so glad to be back, glad to see you all here this evening, and really excited to see the truck count here tonight because we've got a packed house tonight. 2 weeks ago, last race, the big story for that night was the number 18 Brandon Briggs getting his first Area 51 victory, so big congrats to him. Always exciting to see first time winners, and we'll see what we have in store for tonight. I think definitely a good chance of some more first time winners here as well. Again, a lot of drivers here tonight, so it's gonna be fun to see how everybody does, how everybody gets around this 2.5 mile oval. A little narrower than Talladega, but of course still lots of fun and a much more dangerous pit road entry and exit with the banking the way it is here, so it's gonna be fun to see. So looking forward to it here tonight. Drivers putting down their qualifying laps as we speak, so we're going to put up our ticker over on the top side and we'll wait for some laps to start filing in so we can see where your favorite driver comes in. As you see, one driver coming across the start finish line right there as we speak, I believe actually completing their lap. So we'll see if it comes through on our end or not. So should be joined shortly here by Chris Matthews. He's a fairly new dad, so he's got to take care of the baby first and make sure that everything's good to go before he hops over. So should see him shortly, but I'm seeing about 31 trucks here tonight. So like I said, it's going to be a nice big field here tonight, which is going to lead for a lot of excitement, also could lead for a lot of troubles here tonight. And then the fuel window I was hearing is roughly about 18-19 laps, and that 18 to 19 laps could make a big difference because while I'm bad at math, I pulled up the calculator, I did some numbers, and from what I'm seeing, if you can go 19 laps, you can make it on a 3-stop race caution-free. If you can only go 18 laps, you're going to need to splash for fuel, probably be about 3 laps short on fuel. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that all pans out. Of course, caution will change everything. It always depends on when and where those cautions can and will fall. So we'll have to wait and see. And yeah, good luck to you as well, Dean. Appreciate you coming out here tonight. And always, of course, as always, appreciate the support here for Green White Checkered TV with the Area 51 Racing League. So yeah, looking forward to what you got in store for us here tonight as well in that 55 machine. Another driver that had a good run 2 weeks ago but didn't get the result they were hoping for was the 6 of Bud Steele. Led the most laps in that race, just unfortunately didn't get the breaks he needed at the end, so I'll have to keep an eye. Hopefully he's able to kind of get the all-around race that he's looking for here, so we'll keep an eye on him for sure as well. So we're going to let everybody finish up their laps here, and we will get started here. About a minute left in qualifying, so just a little bit more to go. Again, for those that are possibly interested in racing, the website for the league is area51iracing.com. And so also can find them, of course, on iRacing. Search for Area 51 Racing League. And then, yeah, definitely appreciate everybody that watches and follows here on Green White Checkered TV, of course, as well. And again, for racing, we'll be back on Tuesday night. The racing will be back on Tuesday night with the Green White Area 51 Racing League with the open wheels Dallara IR18s, not broadcasted, unfortunately. As well as on Thursday night, we will be back in the booth for the Super Speedway Xfinity Series with Boomer Logan calling the shots over there, back here once again as well at Daytona International Speedway. So it looks like just a few drivers left on track here. Patrick Gruber being one of those in that 54. I know he's going to be looking to find his teammate. I'm gonna have to get used to this because you see the 54 there on the track here. Used to seeing the 01 and the 02 between the brothers here. However, tonight running the 54 and the 28, I believe, are the car numbers for Patrick and Seth Gruber. So again, gonna have to try to get rearranged to that one for the 32 and the 54. And with that, it looks like qualifying has completed here. So let's go ahead and pull up our starting grid for tonight's event. And we'll try to get the grid loaded up here, but currently having some technical difficulties because that's just how things like to go. Give me one moment here. We'll make some adjustments. Hopefully get everything back up and running. I'm say apologies. I'm still trying to get stuff to show up, but it's just right now stuck on this race info page, and no matter what I do, it's not wanting to go away. So I can hide it, but that is not going to fix our problem. So we'll try to get that resolved here as I can momentarily. Because obviously, what I'm going to do for right now is go ahead and hide that screen so we can try to see if I can get it fixed on the back end. What I can tell you, though, is that our pole sitter tonight is going to be the 88 of Gabe Butler. Next to him is Everett Lane, Dude Conrad, Ryan Decker. Our row 2, Steve Krosek rounding out our top 5. Then you got Jack Wells, Giovanni Acapinti. I'm going to have to verify the last name there. Austin Call, Seth Gruber, David Bone, our top 10 in that 33 truck. Then rolling remainders here are Matt Wagner, Eric Laurie, Carl Lingle, Patrick Groover, Austin Niebel, Nick Wing, Jason Bogart, Quabi Brooks, Todd Merkel, Bud Steele, Jacob Lee, Hondo Longmire, Aubrey Thompson, Gary Winters, Jim Brooks, Charles Johnson, Rudy Doden, Frank Ranger Jr., Jeremy Osborne, Bob Fitzgerald, Dean Wilkinson, and Brandon Briggs will be our 32 trucks here this evening. Yeah, apologies. Still not able to get it to come back correctly as of yet. So I will do all I can to be able to at least kind of show you everything that's going on here. I'll say, but timing scoring is definitely having some faults here, and let's say it's gonna be hard to kind of multitask. So right now we're gonna call this thing manually as best I can. So I was saying, like I mentioned, also Chris Matthews going to hop in here soon as well. Great look at that number 88, and that's also a great thing to add on there. As you see that paint scheme, obviously never want to have to kind of remember and have those memories, but that number 88 truck with a very nice paint scheme there. I believe his was, if I saw it right, I believe it was for Flight 93. So unfortunate anniversary of September 11th coming up here tomorrow. But with that, though, we're going to get under green here. You see the pace truck pulling off. Going to hand it over to that number 88 truck of Gabe Butler. These drivers are going to wait for that green flag to fly, and it is down and away. And we are under green here. 75 laps of race distance. Gabe Butler on the inside, Everett Lane on the outside. Then row 2, you got the 8 and the 48 all starting to lock on together and try to make that big push as they head into turn 1 for the first time as they build up speed. So far, so good. Everett Lane's got the nose ahead, though, getting the push down the back. He's going to clear the 88. That's going to allow him to drop to the inside, but Ryan Decker is continuing to get that push from Steve Krosek here. So our pole sitter here in the 88 will not lead lap number 1. The question is going to be right now, does lap 1 go to the 24 or the 48? Because right now there is not much in between the two of them. So we'll try to see if we can get a good look at the line. It looks like it's going to be that 24. Indeed, it is. By about half a truck, Everett Lane going to lead lap number 1 in that number 24 fast lane racing truck. As he's got some help behind him with the 88 and the 8. I believe working together in that boot after Discord, as well as Steve Krosek in the 027 right now. But Steve pretty committed to lining up on that outside line here so far, working pretty well together here. And then a little further back, some drivers just kind of cruise control. Do have one truck, unfortunately, I believe possibly starting from the pits, though, is the 08 of Bob Fitzgerald, just building up speed now. So unfortunately not the start that Bob was looking for, but And we do have a small breakaway as well here from Charles Johnson, Dean Wilkinson, and Brennan Briggs all off the pack here by about 2 seconds. But I think they're trying to just play it safe here early on, kind of expecting probably something to happen early. And of course, here at Daytona, you can go 3 wide. It's a little tighter than usual compared to Talladega, especially for instance. However, obviously, a third lane does work here, but I don't think you'll see it too often early. I think it's going to be saved for when it's really time to make those big moves later on in the race. But right now, everybody holding pretty steady here. 2x2 as Ryan Decker is getting that big push down the back. Can't quite clear the 24. And the other thing, of course, is you have to be careful how hard you push, because at some point these trucks will start to get hot. And you do not want to get those water and oil temperatures up, because it doesn't take long before they will pop. And look at this. You see Everett Lane here. He's going to try to jump to the top side here, maybe try to steal a little bit of draft time. I think probably actually give a little bit of temperature, I think, more importantly, to that the 88 truck at Gabe Butler. And even more importantly, right there, leading a lap as well as that pole position. That's 2 now bonus points for the 88. We know how important those are over the course of the season. So Gabe getting that bonus point here. And also probably crucially getting those temperatures down in that truck as well. So we'll drop back a little bit here. Not a lot of too many drivers jumping a bunch of spots early. Right now our highest climbers are about 3 spots apiece here, and that's these 2 trucks right there, the 21 and the 43. Jacob Lee and Hondo Longmire, they are working together here tonight. And I was told to say, if all goes well here for them, watch for them at the end of this race, because they have some things up their sleeves and they're ready to have some fun here tonight. And definitely done plenty of racing with Hondo. Always a fun guy to race with, always a character, but really just all around really, really good guy and fun to hang out with. So looking forward to see what they have in store. As I see a truck there up top by himself. That is that 32 of Seth Gruber, and it's a lonely spot right there. I see Patrick not too far behind there in that 54. The polka dot jersey car versus the yellow jersey cars. Is big wobble there by the 64. Oh, we got trouble. We got contact around, multiple trucks involved. First caution of the night is out. You see one up on its side there. That's the 028 of Nick Wing as he barrel rolls down the front stretch there. And unfortunately, that is going to be a tough hit for him. Number of trucks involved there. And I saw the bobble initially from Austin Call. I think Austin's going to get away with it, but those trucks further back, unfortunately, not as lucky here. So let's go back here. Try to see where this all kicked off. I also saw the 30, I believe it was Carl Lingle. Yeah, heavy damage to that truck. So it was rusty pre-crash, just if anybody's wondering, but unfortunately, I think much more worse for wear now. So let's go back. Let's take a look. You're going to see it kicking off here. So let's back up a little further. And I think it's kind of that you see stuff happening up in front of you, you react to it, and you see right there Austin Call just super wiggly there, back and forth, back and forth. I think drivers are starting to react to that, and that's where you're going to see, yeah, right there you see the 04 and the 94, actually they make contact. And then I believe, so you see right here the 04, the 071, Eric Laurie also didn't catch that initially. Eric's involved here as well. And that's what catches the 30 of Carl Lingle. He gets just, unfortunately, just caught in the wrong spot, wrong time. And then just everybody else here trying to get through. You see the 10 there, a little bit of contact as well. And then also, like I mentioned, the 04, the 22, the 43 we just talked about. So Hondo, I apologize. I think our commentators cursed you there. You see Bud Steele here rolling the apron and has to take an off track, unfortunately, to go through the grass. Not much choice he can do there. And then what I'm seeing here, though, is a lot of trucks just quicken on the brakes. So that's what you like to see from these guys. And we mentioned Charles Johnson and the 18 Brandon Briggs and company being down on the bottom. So they were able to avoid most of that. So we'll jump back live with drivers heading to pit road. So I'm going to take a quick break, see if I can go ahead and see if I can get some stuff work on this SDK. So bear with me. We'll be right back.
40 Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim.
right, we are back, and I believe we had a handful of trucks actually not make pit stops. But the important thing is you can see on the left side, though, we have timing and scoring again. It is definitely not the 0th caution, by the way. This is definitely the first caution, so apologies on that one. But and also looking at some pit stop times, we did have a number of drivers opt to save their fast repair and get damages repaired manually here. So, but this is going to get intriguing right now. Is the top, I believe, looks like 12 trucks, I believe, went ahead and stayed out. I believe Austin called the first truck there to hit pit road in the 64, get some tires on that truck. So basically, though, we're going to have about a 7-lap difference between pit strategies, potentially, of course. Just really depends on the fuel strategy and pit stops if we get them under green or not. So we'll be very interested to see how this is going to pan out here. So trucks, and actually we have a handful of trucks topping off right here. You got the 04 of Ambrose Niebel there. So I have to verify some of these last names. I apologize. Haven't had a chance to catch all the guys, but looks like actually from Charles Johnson on back, all of these drivers opted to go ahead and top off. And I might be actually lying there. I think it actually might be Jason Bogart. But you know what? Actually, I have a feeling with all the OBS issues we were having, or SDK issues, I'm sorry, I bet actually all these drivers did pit. I think I'm missing, what I'm missing was I think some of these drivers left pit road before I had a chance to see the update. So we'll kind of keep an eye and see. But yeah, definitely a number of drivers on pit road, some topping off as well. So like I said, we'll make do as best we can here. But what I can tell you is I think we have 31 trucks, still in the race. Unfortunately, I believe Carl Lingle may have retired. I'll have to keep an eye on that for him. But with all that going on, though, the big shuffle though up front, though, is going to be actually Jacob Lee, now plus 12 from where he started there, now up to 9th. However, we're going to hand it back over to this number 88 of Gabe Butler. And reminder here, on this restarts now, the 88 has control. So if he wants to jump early, he definitely has the ability to do so. But so far, looking like he's going to wait. Yeah, looks like he's going to wait for the green. Now he's down and away as they work their way to build up speed through the gears here. That 88 and the 8 leading that front row. And then you got the 24 and the 27 behind on the inside line. And definitely the inside line looks to have the big push here so far as they build up speed. So far, the 88 continues to control there. 2 trucks having a little troubles on this restart, though. Looks like the 53 actually wound up missing the... Oh, a little bit of a bubble. We are 3 wide, though, up front here. We'll have to definitely keep an eye on that. And it looks like it's going to be led off by, I believe that is going to be Seth Groover. And I'm trying to see who his helper is there. Oh, that's Matt Wagner there in the 11 Nerds truck there. But I believe Quabi Brooks and Jason Bogart both had issues. Quabi not making up to the field in time for the restart. He is a ways back. And then Jason Bogart having hit pit road coming to green. Probably a pit stop penalty, unfortunately, for the 10. So hopefully for Jason able to get some breaks back and get back onto the lead lap here. But right now, though, we continue to stay 3x3 up front here. Just 2 trucks right now on the outside line. And you can see, I think the temperature is probably the 11 starting to get a little warm, probably having to try to back off a little bit off of that number 32. And so that's allowed that middle and inside lanes to recharge back up there. But right now, like I said, the driver on the move has really been Jacob Lee here in the 21, now up 15 spots. However, not the highest climber as of right now. That is going to be last week's winner there in that Winston truck, Brandon Briggs. Seeing if he can continue that momentum, push back up to the front. And then also you see Hondo Longmire caught up in that previous incident. He's worked his way back up as well here into that main pack. So, and a little ways back, we do have, unfortunately, a number of trucks here off the pack. Again, I'm not sure if this is by design or not, but Once again, though, it looks like Charles Johnson, Dean Wilkinson now adding Frank Ranger to the mix there as well. And then also Patrick Groover off pace here as well. So may have missed something that may have happened earlier, but definitely a few trucks out of the off pace of where they were. And I can confirm, actually, I'm sorry, Carl Engel is still on track. I apologize. There's the 30 there. So we still do have all 32 trucks in this race on track. Right now, all but I believe 2 are on the lead lap, with Jason Bogart, Carl Engel being a lap or more down. But again, still a long ways to go here, and I'll see the leaders here catching up to that 53 of Quavi Brooks. He's actually going to take it back to pit road, I believe. Or maybe actually looks like maybe just roll the apron here, try to play it safe there, to see if he can then merge back up with the field. Right now, things it's kind of settled it now 2 by 2 here, and yeah, right now I'd say it's kind of a boot knocker domination group up front right now, controlling the first 2 rows here, with Gabe and Everett up on the front row, and then Steve and Dude on the second row. And as soon as I say that, a big bobble there by 88, and that definitely slowed the momentum up. And as soon as that momentum shift happened, you saw the 32 Seth Groover. He said, "All right, now's my time to jump to the top here," and he's going to try to make some moves early. Saying I can see already he's going to definitely pick up Matt Wagner. The curiosity for me is going to be, does he pick up some of these other trucks like the 43 or the 18? And right now, Honda's thinking about it. He hasn't fully committed yet, but now he's going to have to fully commit because Brandon Briggs is going to sneak inside of that 43 truck. So we're going to be 3 wide here, 3 rows deep, as it continues to be the 18 and the 27 now leading that front row, as Gabe moved up to that middle lane. But we still do have, I believe, 25 trucks here in this main pack right now. As you see Hondo there, I think he's rolling back a little bit. So yeah, maybe not yet. Say we're only in lap 14 of 75, so he's still got some time.
Smart move for him to go kind of in the middle right there. As these 2 almost touched right there, the 24 and the 92, I believe. That was going to be a close one, but it was good for him to move that middle pack. Once you guys are having a decent run through the middle, it actually becomes one of the faster lines, just due to the air distribution. So now we've seen that third line kind of go away, and we saw how many spots he lost all the way up that top side. But still Gabe Butler's leading this pack.
Yeah, I'd say pretty much. I'd say it's death taxes and then Gabe Butler being petitioned at Super Speedway race. I feel like it's kind of the motto that we should have here.
Definitely, but he went back up this time, and I don't think he's gonna make this one work for him unless he gets a good push from the top side. But we'll sit there and see. I believe that was Steve Korsak getting the lead back there as he leads this lap, coming to lap 16.
I think this is strategy, honestly, Chris. I think what's happening is Gabe's working both lanes, but not as like a way to slow people down, but it's as a way to help his guys around him, where I think Steve is being real aggressive, pushing that 88, keeping him in front. And then at some point, Steve says, "Hey, I'm getting hot." And if Gabe is clear, he jumps up top in front of the 24, gives that 27 some clean air, and then able to then kind of let him cool down. Then he jumps back down low. It almost looks like it's really kind of synchronized, with some really impressive teamwork by these 4 trucks. You see it once again here. Right now, like I said, without that third lane here, it looks like these boot knockers are really just controlling the pace of this race so far early on.
Yeah, and that's actually a pretty smart idea for them to do. That's not something you usually get to have, a luxury of having when you do like official racing or even league racing for that matter, unless you really know the people that are around you and you're able to do that. A lot of times that kind of ends up in tragedy and a lot of crying faces there after the race. But when you're able to do that so well, as you see Steve Korsak go all the way up to the top, so they might be switching strategy here. With the way that it's going, but I see that third line's trying to form once more.
Yeah, so it's only a matter of time. At some point, someone's going to want to go, and this time it's actually going to be Jacob Lee that said, "All right, I'll give this third lane a try," and he's going to try to get up there. But again, though, it's still just 2 trucks, though. We haven't really seen them organized like they really need to get up there. I'll be kind of watching to see if Matt Wagner, maybe he tries to jump up, but you see actually they've all settled right back down into that second lane, so that third lane just hasn't come to fruition yet. But I'm still going to stick with that yet here. And actually, here's a big part that's about to happen here is they're catching some traffic here. You see that truck running up against the wall. And again, there's plenty of space for it to happen, but just sometimes things get a little tight. Someone might make just the slightest mistakes, but I believe we're going to get through here okay. And I think at this point, Patrick should be able to tag on to the draft, hopefully, to be able to kind of try to hold his spot as the first truck one lap down. But we'll see, because there's still going to be plenty of time to go here. So I believe the next truck is going to be Frank Ranger, but he's still a ways away from the leaders here, probably about half a lap down from the lead pack.
Yeah, usually, we've had some trouble with I would say, player or driver retention in the league, but with this still being a fresh season, this is a lot of people to be in a series right now that I think a lot of people, they're still trying to get used to each other. So with a big pack like this, people are still trying to get used to things. So it's kind of interesting to see the people in the back. We have some people that, some well-known people in the back kind of just chilling out. So I'm looking at, Matt Wagner, Austin Cole, Eric Worre, guys like that. They're usually up front. Even Bud Steele, the guys that have won races here or have done very well, historically. And these guys are kind of just chilling. I think they're waiting for either a pit strategy to come through for them, or the big one, since these guys still want to go 3 wide.
Yeah, I think strategies, that's going to be the talk tonight is, I believe everybody pitted right around lap 6 or 7 for that first yellow. And with the fuel mileage being about 18 to 19 laps, I mean, again, rough numbers there, that would tell you probably about lap, 25 or so, we would think we'll probably see about pit stops. And we're on 20 now, so that pit window probably not too far away here. So, and that's going to be the next question. You see one drop into the apron there, and I think that, again, that's just a really, really respectful gesture. That's Jason Bogart, knowing, hey, I'm a couple laps down here. I'm going to go ahead and roll off, see if I can let you guys on by. Hopefully for him, he can tag onto the back of this draft here. He should be able to merge up here through the tri-oval, and yeah, there he goes. But unfortunately, I think he's going to fall off that draft. But this is where you got to have those two trains of thought here, Chris, where if you're up front, you're burning the most fuel, you're probably going to have to pit maybe a lap or so before some of these other guys that maybe are saving that fuel. So you have to kind of think about when do you want to make that move and kind of have to make that push to either get to the bottom or, not ideally, but maybe have to roll out the back a little bit and find an opening to get to the bottom lane before you make your pit stop. So this is going to be an intriguing part. And I think this is also, again, kind of the way I approach these races is where when I'm saving, when I get to about 4 or 5 laps till pit stops, that's when I really want to make my charge. And I think we're seeing that right now, as I think those boot knockers are trying to assemble themselves to get that 8 truck down to the bottom. That way they have their full team organization here to be able to get to the pack. So I'm watching the 88. I want to see if he maybe backs up the guys a little bit, or if they're going to hope that maybe that Brandon Briggs, last week's winner, maybe he can push that 8 to the front. So we'll have to keep an eye and see how they get organized here.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to see everything that's going to unfold here in the next couple of laps, but I feel like if I was going to, want to get a better pit stop, or at least cycle through my pit stop better, and we always see the boot knocker guys do this. They tend to do this when they all get up front. They tend to sit there, get up front, and then they're the ones that can kind of dictate and control how the breakup of the packs are going to be. So you'll see like the first 4 or 5 cars on the bottom line, they'll all go in, and it takes everyone else maybe half a lap to kind of get gathered back up and have that push. So when they come out of the pits, they're almost a second to 2 seconds quicker than the guys that had to go, the second time around, third time around, or even fourth time around. So I think if I want to be able to win this race, I have to stick with the front group.
Yeah, and that's going to be the question is, and of course, I mean, the problem is some of those guys just aren't going to be able to, because they're going to be pinned to the outside, and so they'll be forced either, like we talked about, either forced to drop back or forced to try to find a way to get to the bottom. But actually, surprisingly here, Steve Krosek jumps to the top. I wonder if this is going to be an attempt to see if they can kind of almost get that 2-for-1. I think that's, easily what's going to happen here. The 27 and the 8, they both clear 24. They get in line. That is exactly what they wanted to have happen there. Now they've got the 4 trucks on the inside line right before the pit stop schedule is about to open. And so now this is where those other trucks are going to have to react and make that big charge here. As you can already see, the trucks starting to move around a little bit, trying to get themselves organized. But you can see they're kind of going 3 wide amongst themselves right now. That's where they're going to lose that time. So they got to be careful here. But you can see we talked about that 2-3 wide racing. It is a pretty much single file line here from first to about 25th.
Yeah, and I'm still, man, it's kind of crazy to look at, because I'm looking at guys that they just want to be able to be up front, or at least we're used to seeing them up there front. Todd Merkel, longtime friend of the channel here, and then you got Steven Korsak, who's all the way up front. Usually these guys are kind of pretty much running together, I think, usually, week in, week out. But there's some names in here that, we haven't called on, quite a while, like somebody like Jacob Lee. And these guys are doing real well to be in the positions that they are, as we see them almost come close together, him and Hondo. But what I'm thinking about is, where can I position myself for this, eventual field run that we're going to have to pit. And, I want to be able to beat the boot knocker guys, because this right now plays into their hands. And it always seems to come down to a pit strategy like this.
Yeah, I mean, if you honestly, and that's the thing is, there's two ways. Obviously, you try to go alternate strategy and try to beat them at their own game, or you kind of try to at least tag on to them to give yourself a fighting chance for later in the race. And so right now, really the two that are in that best spot are the 48 there of Ryan Decker, the 83 of Jack Walls. Those are the two furthest up that have the inside line right behind all the boot knockers. I'm pretty sure we're going to see drivers duck off here. I kind of just based on the lap times and such, I feel like this is about time to drop off, but they proved me once again wrong here. So we're going to continue on a little further here. We're going to cross the third distance mark of this race, start 26 of 75. But right now, like I said, everybody's starting to kind of get organized here. And you can see, though, Matt Wagner trying to push the last week's winner there in the 18, trying to see if they can get him cleared to the front. But while they do this, it's just going to be burning more and more fuel. In another respect here, you see again that 54 now jumps to the apron, letting the leaders go on by, doesn't want to affect the race. So again, the respect that we see is really nice to see. And unfortunately, though, you mentioned Todd Merkel. He's actually now leaving pit road. And unfortunately, though, Chris, that's a pit stop by himself. He's going to have to hope that he had a really good in and out lap to hopefully offset some of the losses he's going to have with no draft right now.
Yeah, definitely going to be not a huge problem there. As we see our first set of guys kind of coming in a big group right there, as Duke Conrad goes all the way to the wall to make sure he doesn't get hit, but it squeezes up right there as these guys almost came together once again. But looks like everyone got in pretty safe. I didn't see any real tire smoke. Hopefully there's no pit stall penalties.
Yeah, so far so good there. And yeah, look like everybody very well behaved on that pit road entry, so well done to all of them. To say, it seemed like Steve Korosek had the best entry. He had a couple truck lengths on the next truck there on entry, so we'll have to keep an eye on how they cycle on. Yeah, see who maybe has a longer pit stop, maybe accidentally taking 4 tires or a pit penalty like you mentioned. And right now, looks like, I believe everybody looks like they've gone in and out clean. So here's going to be the response, though. It's going to be Brennan Briggs, Matt Wagner, and Jacob Lee, Honda Longmire. They're going to have to come in this time. And so here they all come for that second pack here. And again, it's just how aggressive can you get in and out of pit road. And it so far looks like, whoops, sorry, wrong cars. There we go. Looks like everybody is in and out cleanly once again here. So far everybody's getting in well. Now they make sure no pit mistakes getting to their pit stalls. Jim Brooks hits his stall. Matt Wagner getting woed down for his. Looks like everything good there. So far so good. These guys are kind of minding their P's and Q's. Gabe Butler, he's building his speed back up here in the 88. He's got Seth Groover behind him, a quick stop for them. But look at these two, though, Ryan Decker and Steve Korosek. They have a ton of momentum lined up here. And Ryan Decker's going to clear around these guys. And, yeah, there they go. They're going to go straight to the bottom. So now we got to watch out the back. So it's going to be Matt Wagner. And let's hop on board. Actually, he's got the 17 truck. Oh, this is not what Matt was hoping for. Because you can tell he's the 17 maybe doesn't quite have the pace of the pit exit that these other guys do. And so they're kind of just almost pushing him right now up to speed. This is going to get really dicey real quick, Chris, because we're going to have a whole bunch of trucks at very different speeds right here as they build up speed.
Yeah, and the guys that just came out of pit, they definitely have to get back on track, but everyone else has to be respectful to get around them as they go 3 wide, 2 wide, kind of around the corners over here. But this is going to really kind of break up the pack as we see Steve Korosek and Gabe Butler kind of tandem draft all their, a big gap through the field right here. But these guys are definitely going to get caught, and at the time that they get caught, there's definitely going to be a momentum shift. So we'll see what happens here. I think we got 2 cars on the outside, about 4 cars on the bottom, and we'll see if that push. Either they'll push or they'll try to pass.
Yes, I think we have trouble. I saw something with Hondo Longmire. Yeah, he's on pit road here. Something happened with him. I saw the timing and scoring. There was definitely something that occurred. So we're going to back up and watch the 40. Oh, contact there for the 43. Tries to hang on to it. So we're still on replay here. And then was trying to get on track. Hits the grass, though. And then I believe just unfortunate, just that transition. Yeah, as soon as he hit the transition, throws him back in the grass on the pit road. So it's kind of going to give that unsafe pit entry for that 43. So unfortunately probably a pit penalty as well, just for good measures. So big slide there for the 24 truck there as we jump back live. And It's getting busy here pretty quick, and I think Bud Steele is listening to you, Chris, because now here he is all of a sudden right in the top 10 in the thick of this battle.
Yeah, I think he realized that it was time, for, go time, and what better way to follow the leaders that have been leading this race the whole time. So not only him, but Eric Worre is also directly behind him, getting ready to come back to the front as he's on the bottom line.
And we got some big moves being made. Matt Wagner was trying to get to the outside of Steve Korosek. Did not work. He's actually going to get shuffled to the third lane. He's going to fall way to the back here, unfortunately. But that's going to promote that 21 of Jacob Lee. Now he's going to lead this inside line with Jack Walls as his pusher. So say everything's shuffling around there. You see the 11 and the 24 getting hooked up with Matt and Everett Lane. But yeah, so after pit stop cycles, we still have 20 trucks here. Oh, we got trouble. The 18 around. Brandon Briggs spinning onto pit road. I think he's going to
Not sure it's going to be a yellow.
No, I think we're going to stay green here. We'll go back one more time and take a look at this one from Brandon. And it's already occurred. And actually, I see one behind him there also was way down on speed as well there. Couldn't quite catch which truck that was, unfortunately. May have been Frank Ranger Jr. Yeah, it was. He was actually just hitting pit road. So, unfortunately, some trouble for last week's winner. He's back up and going again. So we'll jump back live. But I was about to say we had 20 trucks in this lead pack, now down to 19, unfortunately, after the troubles for that 18 truck. But again, still a long, long ways to go here. Lap 31 of 75. Haven't got to the halfway point yet. But, man, these guys are driving aggressive. I feel like it's just kind of everything's just ramped up right now.
Yeah, and I think it's just you want to position yourself for the best possible way of the next set of pit stops, because we see we're only at lap 32. We're going to need, I would say, one more pit strategy unless we get some yellows here. But doesn't seem like we have any real tire wear off, and people aren't sliding up into the lane. So tire wear might be good. Some of these guys might have slipped on their way back up to speed as we're getting ready to go 3 wide once again, and Steve Korosek kind of got left out to dry, but you see Bud Steele take that middle line, and this is what I was kind of talking about a little bit earlier, where you take that middle line, the guys tend to be a little bit faster because it's almost like a slipstream, because you have the wind wake that's happening for both sides. So I think Gabe Butler's doing the smart thing right here. He's going to end up pulling Steve Korosek, and if both of these guys want to go to, they can go to the bottom like they are right now. As a little bit of a twitch right there.
Yeah, so it's getting dicey because you got the Groovers. They got hooked up together. Unfortunately, earlier mentioned, Patrick's not having the best night so far. But lap down or not, though, I mean, he's going to be committed to his brother and try to help him here. But as soon as I said that, actually it looks like I think they're going to switch positions. Actually, I think what they're doing is they're saying, hey, wait, we got a truck here in that third lane. Let's go ahead and get back double file here. And that's going to allow the 10 here of Jason Bogart to run the wall and not put himself at risk and not have to go through the apron. So really good call by those guys, heads up driving to kind of move out of the way, let the field clear the 10, and then get back going. So again, it's unfortunate Jason's not having the night he'd be hoping for early on, but at the same time, though, the respect's still given to his peers, and that's what you really want to see in these leagues. And that's kind of the whole point of leagues, is you're able to kind of build that camaraderie and the respect for one another. It's like, hey, it's not my night, but you know what? I'm going to just roll out of it, let you guys have your fight, and maybe next week will be my week.
Yeah, and shout out to the Bogart family, our family of friends. We know we always see them every once in a while. Just cheering your guy on. You might not have a good week or a bad week here, but it definitely helps. I know that a lot of these guys here in the league do come back and watch the series here, and I know that they go and read some of the comments, and it's nice to, at least when I'm a driver, it's nice to see that people support me, even though there was support there. As there was a pretty big stack up there. I'm not sure what happened. There might have been a little bit of a glitch with Steve Korosek, because everyone started to just check up on the top side.
Yeah, it was a weird kind of stack up according there. It almost seemed like the 88 kind of fell off pace or something for a split second, but not 100% sure what went on there, but looks like all is well now. But yeah, very, very odd situation there. And you mentioned shout-outs. I mean, we got to shout out the one and only, and the Wang, Brian Wang, peeking in on the YouTube chat. So glad to see you on here, Brian. I know you've had some international travels recently, so we got to get you back behind the wheel here sooner than later, because love to see you on track as well, sir. But hope you are doing well, and yeah, hope you enjoyed tonight's race, and I'm sure rooting on your teammates.
Always good to see Brian Wang. I wish he was here. I know he has some busy stuff going on, but Yeah, man, it's always good to see all the familiar faces. Honestly, I see Muff was in the chat a little bit earlier. So was Dean Wilkinson. Just great to kind of get this family up and running. It's always fun to see all these guys. I'm looking at these guys kind of in the middle of the pack, around like seventh or eighth. Patrick Groover, Jack Wall, Seth Groover. The Groover brothers, I haven't seen them actually, link up too much today. And usually these guys are able to, run up front and give everyone pretty much a run for their money. They are definitely a threat to the Super Speedway madness here.
Yeah, no, they really are. And yeah, they haven't been able to kind of get it together yet. But I think it's one of those, just give it, it's a matter of time, and then they're going to get linked up and going. And I think it's also, they probably just haven't really turned the wick yet. I think they're kind of holding off for the moment here. But I say, the one we haven't seen peek in yet is, speaking of the Groovers, is Mama Groover. So hopefully she's watching and supporting her boys, and hope she's doing well also. But I was about to mention, though, Chris, was up front, though, the boot knockers, they got lined up here once again. And I think they're trying to see if they can get those top 4 spots on the inside line once again, because you can see you've got Steve on the inside line, but then you got the other 3 locked on now on the outside, being led by Dude Conrad. So I'm wondering if we're going to see a really big push out of these 3 to see if they can all clear that number 27 on the bottom lane. But right now, I don't see it happening. But yeah, they found the way to get all 4 of them back to the front here once more. So far they've definitely shown that they kind of have control of this race. But I'm not counting everybody else out yet, because I think some of these guys haven't shown their hands yet. Like the 83 Jack Walls, the 48 Ryan Decker. I don't think they've really shown their full aggression level. So I think there's still more to come in this one. It looks like it's kind of in control by those guys, but yeah, I think there's more that hasn't been shown yet.
Yeah, I know some of these guys are definitely kind of holding on, keeping something kind of close to their chest when playing this, but we've seen it so many times where you try to lay back and you try to lay back for so long and you try to make something happen pretty much at the end, and it just ends up being a big caution fest, as we see a big bump from the with the 8 car and Steve Korsak. Not sure where these guys are getting this from, because it wasn't happening earlier in the first racing stint, but I think these guys are starting to try to like ride the brakes and get a little bit more bump drafting, but it doesn't seem like these bumps are being gentle at all.
No, and I think I was saying the other thing, of course, to mention is, I mean, this is the first Area 51 race after the new iRacing builds came out, so not a ton of updates, I don't believe, for the trucks, but the Xfinity cars on Wednesday, those will have a pretty big update with the new damage model, especially. So I think that will change things a lot. So it'll be interesting seeing, and of course, I mean, just the new build days, those are always it just makes things a little different for the drivers. Maybe little nuances that you have to kind of learn and adjust to, and that's the thing, is these guys, they're so on top of, like, oh yeah, I noticed that it doesn't take 12 seconds to get hot anymore. It's 13 seconds to push, and it starts to get hot. Like they know, like they find these little things that change in between them, and that's what sometimes will make some of these drivers just that little step ahead, that they just somehow have that sense of find those little changes that happen. But Chris, though, we're on lap 39 now at 40 with 36 to go. So we have crossed the halfway point in here. And so with the pit stops, when we talked about them being here, we're at they pitted at 26:27. We're at lap 40 now. So again, not too far away from pit stops. I would say if we're doing the rough numbers here, it's probably going to be around lap 48 or so, roughly, when we start to see these trucks on the pit road. So I'll have to double check the numbers, but I believe we still have 2 stops from here, though, to the end, no matter what.
Yeah, the math seems to be correct on that one, but honestly, kind of thinking that we might have a yellow here soon if we lose a little bit of patience up front. There's been, I wouldn't necessarily call it blocking, but I definitely see some blockades happening. So nothing too aggressive, but definitely some halting of the momentum that's been happening. So we see the guys on the outside, they, a lap ago, they were about, 3 or 4 rows back, but the guys on top, they were kind of pigeon-holding a lot of people up there. And I'm not sure if what we're seeing is a little bit of brake checking just so cars can stay, or trucks can stay together, or, the parameters of the new update that we've been seeing. But it seems like the bump drafting here has been a little bit vicious, a little bit wicked.
And I missed something while we were going over some of the stuff, because Ryan Decker is not being scored. I wonder if he may have fallen out. Chris, you might be able to confirm, but Yeah, I'm not seeing Ryan Decker on track anymore, unfortunately. And he was in that top 5, top 10 pack. So, unfortunately, a 48 truck, not what he was hoping for there. So unfortunately, showing, I believe, out of the race. But so right now, we've been kind of focusing on this main pack here, which is about 18 trucks long. Rudy Doden, Gary Winters kind of just cruising right now, just I think trying to stay safe. But we got to jump back a little further because you got this 3-truck pack here. You got Ambrose Nagel and Jeremy Osborne here working together. Actually, a 4-truck pack now. And so these are a couple of guys I believe over with Blind Squirrel Racing. And so I've definitely enjoyed. Actually, I think we got pit stops.
Right now.
So let's jump back up front because we got pit stops. And this, I think, is the whole strategy of doing something different, trying to kind of shake up the pack. So they're going for I think an early pit stop to spread it out a little bit. And yes, definitely shout out as well to Mrs. Muff, giving her all of our love from Green White Checker TV as well, as Gabe Butler hits pit road with his teammates. And we just mentioned Gary Winters, Rudy Doden as well in their pit box and down and away as we speak. A lot of tire spinning for that 88 trying to roll out of pit road. And here they all come. So now the question is, do these guys react here, Chris? Do you jump in this next time by, or do you think, hey, I got the pace, we can push faster than those guys? What do you do?
I think you have to, considering what happened last time. So these guys we have one person drop.
Mixed bag.
That's not good. But yeah,
you got three on here. So you got Jim Brooks, Bud Steele, and David Bone all hitting pit road for their pit stop again. These guys all trying to react, I think, to the boot knockers. But Seth Groover, Matt Wagner, and Jack Wallace, they say we can go further, and we think we got the pace, I think, to do it.
Yeah, not too sure how this one's going to work out. I think once we see the boot knocker guys get up to speed, they're pretty much going to come around to them. I believe they're all the way up in turn 4 now, I believe. Yep. So they're going to be in turn 4. We will see what happens when these guys come out. Whenever Matt Wagner and the rest of these guys decide to pit. So I think they're calling it right now. I see a couple people wiggling. It looks like they're doing their little hand waves, and I think we're going to see everyone on this line right now drop in.
Yep, here they come right behind Todd Merkel. And it looks like same thing. Everybody's looking pretty well behaved on entry. Yep, everybody gets in clean. So that's going to cycle most of our leaders here through. I was watching Jim Brooks. He's still building up to speed here. And so he's been passed already by Gabe Butler and Steve Krosek, but he might be able to tag on to Dude Conrad, who also pitted with those guys. We'll see. But right now that short pit strategy looks like it might be paying off for Gabe and company. And they're actually already coming up on traffic here. And that includes Dean Wilkinson, Charles Johnson, who have yet to pit. And actually, as I say that, they just pulled off now, I believe. And so, so a little breakaway right now by these top two over Eric Laurie in that 071. So, but now let's jump up front to those that just pitted, looking for, I believe, Seth Groover. And I think this is going to be a net gain right now, Chris, because he's still building up speed, and we're about to see those two fly by on that outside line.
Yeah, and I think that's just the strategy of pitting early right there. I mean, that was a good call by some of these guys. And I'm looking at the 071, who's being pushed by Austin Call and Everett Lane. And with the two up front, they can only push for so long before they have to do a swap or something like that before the engine blows. But if these guys decide to race each other as they're trying to catch up to the next two up front, it might give the rest of these guys like the Groovers and Jack Walls a chance to catch up. But Matt Wagner's a little bit by himself. He'll kind of have to wait for Dude Conrad to kind of get by him or pass him for them to get up there. But it looks like we might end up with about 2 or 3 different splits right now.
Yeah, they're trying to make a 5-truck breakaway here with Gabe, Steve, Eric, Austin, and Everett. But so now it's going to be all about lap times here. So not this time, but next time I'm going to pull up our timing and scoring here. We're going to look at what the last lap time was, because right now it's not a fully accurate one, as Seth and company haven't got their fully up to speed lap. However, running side by side like this, probably not their best approach here. And like you said, though, Matt Wagner, he's going to have to find a way to get up there, which that's his best help is probably going to be Dude Conrad, Nick Wing, and then from there on back, everybody's kind of singled out here. So that's the short pit call. I'm sorry, really singled out the field. A really good call by those guys. So let's go ahead and pull up our last lap time here. And you'll see over on that left side here what their lap times were. You see Gabe running that 47.94, 47.90s, all in the top 5. And a 47.07 by Jack Walls, which is what they needed to get right back to that pack. So lap time wise, the top now, I believe 7 trucks are all in this lead pack here in the lead lap, falling back to Seth Groover, Matt Wagner on back. They're going to need to have some help here, so we'll see, because right now it's about a little over 2 seconds between Matt to Seth, and Jim Brooks is unfortunately off on his own little island there. So He's going to have to wait for help here. So yeah, really without a caution at this point, Chris, it's a 7-truck race right now. So again, big props to these guys for kind of shaking the strategy a little bit, and I think it may have caught a few guys off guard here.
Yeah, and it seemed like they all did that without really giving a signal or a tell right there. I think they all kind of just knew what lap they were going to come down to. They probably in their own Discord channel, and they said that they didn't wiggle the cars or trucks. They didn't wiggle anything. They really just said at the last minute, everyone kind of came down, shuffled through, and usually that can be dangerous if you're not telling the person behind you that you're pitting them. But it seemed like everyone was on board, and for them to do that and have this breakaway. Just a key strategy. I think that's just something that these guys practice sometimes.
Yeah, and it's really it's all about where you can get away with it and where you can't. So I know for Area 51, for league rules, here at Daytona Talladega, there are no rules saying you have to call your pit stop here, because you can get out of turn 4 and then get to the under the yellow line and then slow down for your pit stops. At tracks, however, like Atlanta and iRacing Super Speedway, you're pretty much slowing down in the racing surface. So they are required to call their pit stops. So I think that's where the big difference is you can maybe catch a few drivers off guard there by kind of making that, like you said, that kind of that stealthy pit stop. So that said, though, I'm not counting out this Matt Wagner, Dude Conrad, and Nick Wang. Brian, you threw me off here. Nick Wing group, apologies, because they're actually using Quabi right now as a bit of a rope here, kind of to be that guy in between to pull themselves back up to it. So I'm expecting to watch him kind of pull on the 53. I would suspect, as he's right now 30th, he's just hasn't had a good night tonight. I think he's also fighting some technical issues. I would expect he'll either jump to the top or let Matt use him as a pusher here. He's going to jump top there and let those guys go on by. Like I said, kind of build that momentum. And looking at the lap times, Matt Wagner 47.09, leaders 47.64, so almost 0.6 of a second quicker there. So this could turn that lead pack now into a 10-car draft, which is exactly what they want to have. And I'm going to say, they're in the window now. They can see that draft. They can smell it. And so, so we've now got a 10-truck lead pack, which turns into then a 10-second gap to the next group of trucks right here being led by Jim Brooks and Bud Steele. So big separation after that green flag pit stop cycle.
Yeah, you see Matt Wagner getting on the backside of Bob Fitzgerald, who's on the backside of Ryan Decker, and those two really kind of extended the bridge, gave a couple more planks to the bridge right there, and now this is gathered back up. This is going to be a little bit interesting to see what these guys that are in the back that fought their way to get back into this pack, what they're going to do. I think they're actually probably going to start getting a little bit more racy, I would say, just to make sure that they don't get caught out again on the next pit stops. But we keep looking back. Obviously, we said there was 10 seconds back to the next set of guys, and for them, they just need to stay in the gas and hope for a caution, I believe, at this point, because those 10 seconds, it's hard to knock that down, and easy to lose if you're not all pushing together. So hopefully they can get the same pit strategy and figure out what's next for them.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So right now, like we said, we got the top 10. So you see them on the top left of your screen on that ticker, from Everett Lane to Nick Wing. So we'll run back now to the second half of drivers here, so we can show where those guys are being led by Jim Brooks. You got him in 11th, Bud Steele, Giovanni, again, I believe Occupanti. Also, again, got to verify some last names there. Aubrey Thompson and Jacob Lee. This is the second pack of 5 trucks on the lead lap. I believe the 22 of Todd Merkel's a lap down currently. Then you got to go about 6 seconds back to the second group of 4 trucks, which includes Gary Winters, Rudy Doden, David Bone there, as well as that 10 of Jason Bogart, who's as well a lap down or more. Then you have to go almost 18 seconds back here to a pretty solid group size, though, with Charles Johnson, Dean Wilkinson, Jeremy Osborne, Ambrose Nabel, and then, again, a number of trucks here that are a lap or more down. So, and then I believe the first truck one down, if I'm not mistaken, though, is actually Bob Fitzgerald in that 08 truck. So this is important for Bob. He needs to stay with these guys. And like I said, for some guys wanting yellow to get back in the race, Bob wants yellow because he wants to get back onto the lead lap and have a chance at this one as well. So basically 22 trucks lead lap, 23rd on back are a lap or more down. But up front, though, it's kind of still... Well, actually, I should say it's kind of still as things were as they were. But as I say that, though, it looks like the Groovers have locked onto the outside line here with Matt Wagner. And then also Dude Conrad, which I would expect to see Dude try to find a way. If he can find an opening here behind the 071 and in front of the 64, that would be about perfect for him, because then he'd be right with his teammates. But Everett Lane here, once again, jumping to the top side, picking up the momentum there from those guys. So even now, Chris, they're still working both lanes, and we're down to 22 to go at the line here. So that pit window opens here in about, I'd say 4 to 5 laps here. And then it's all about how much do you want to have in the tank in case we get to that green-white checkered potential finish.
Yeah, and oh man, it's going to be... I feel like the strategy is going to work out for the guys that have already made their bed with everything and how it's going to work out. I don't think there's too many other risks that people can get involved or make a play on. So it's honestly just going to be coming down to how confident these drivers want to drive until the next set of pit stops here, and if there's anyone that's really going to try to take a risk to lead the rest of this race right now. But I'm thinking right now, if these guys stay calm, this is pretty much what we're going to have for the finish. I don't think anything else is going to happen.
As it runs, yeah, it looks like it'd be a 10 truck pack to the finish, again, without a yellow. And that could be smaller, of course, if some get shuffled out. Lap time-wise, the top 10 pack is definitely still quicker than that second pack being led by Jim and Bud there. But the other thing, too, here, Chris, is we got a mix of pit laps. We have the leaders like Steve Krosek, Everett Lane and company. They pit at lap 42. Seth Groover, Matt Wagner, Jack Walls, they pitted at lap 44. So there's a 2-lap difference between when these trucks pitted for fuel. And that just means that's those guys that pitted at 44, they can put a little less fuel in their trucks, especially if they've been saving. Like, I've been watching Jack Walls, and he's doing a Jack Walls race. He's just kind of playing it cool, not really showing his hand, waiting to really have to make the move when he needs to. And I think he's just been sitting here saving, and that's going to allow him to have a shorter pit stop for that final stop here in just a handful of laps. So I'm liking what I'm seeing out of that 83 truck, and I would expect to see him react to the boot knockers this time around. I think he'll try to jump in with them and kind of undercut them, knowing he needs a little less fuel than these other guys that pitted earlier and that have also been leading and pushing and controlling this race.
I'm trying to look at what these guys in the back might be doing. I'm saying in the front pack right now. I think there's still some aggressive bump drafting, and I'm sure that's just due to what the update has done with these guys. We don't usually see that normally, but looking at the guys in the back, seems like some of them are starting to peel off and let some people in. As I see Dude Conrad just get let in from Austin Call, and I think that's the strategy. They're getting ready to start setting this back up again like they did last time, and honestly, it's just the way these guys, communicate and talk to each other, where, you have some people that try to, aggressively get to the front, and then you start seeing the strategy play out where they just start letting 1, 2, 3 trucks in that were fighting on the outside, and all of a sudden you have your next set of pit stop people, and everyone just gets on the same page. It's just it's an uncanny sight that I see all the time.
Yeah, and you talk about aggressive right now, and that's the Growers right now, as Seth is pushing Patrick for all he is worth, trying to get him as far up as he can here, and maybe see about getting there before the pit stops, because right now we're at 19 to go. Right now we're going to come to 18 to go. This would be right on the fuel window edge, and some indecision there. I think a couple guys, Eric Laurie, thought they were going to pit. He did not, and also I think I saw another truck react. I think it was Nick Wing that said, okay, we're pitting, and then he jumped up too, so a little bit of miscommunication. I think Jack Walls thought they were, not Jack Walls, Eric Laurie thought they were actually pitting that time, but indeed they were not. So that tells me, though, I would expect to see the boot knockers probably in this time, because it's probably one of those like, all right, are we pitting this time or next time? And they heard this time versus the next time. So I think just that little miscommunication didn't hurt anybody. It looks like it worked out okay. And while that's all going on, that 54 truck, he's got one of his laps back here, so that's always nice to have if we get a yellow. But I see a lot of movement right now. And again, I think we're going to see that peel off. Yep, there they go. And so it's going to be the boot knockers like we suspected. And then it's also adding to the list there Austin Call as well as Nick Wing. So, yeah, so it's pretty much the boot knockers and then those two with them. Surprised to see Jack Walls go further. I thought that would have been the strategy for him, is to go ahead and go in with them. So, but now these trucks here, they need to push for all they are worth here, Chris. You talk about like Formula One terms, the in-laps and out-laps. They need to have a very, very big in-lap here to be able to try to keep in touch with the boot knockers. Yeah,
definitely. And we're gonna sit there and we're gonna watch these guys and see what they do. But how boot knocker does these things is so fundamentally perfect that it's very hard to beat them. Even if you are able to get around them, they somehow are able to get up to speed, catch you, and then pass you all almost at once, it seems like, just a train. And it doesn't matter how hard the person behind you is pushing. It seems like these guys just have such a setup to get around there. As we see, Steve Korsak and Gabe Butler, they're the first two out. Everyone else is about 3 seconds, 4 seconds back. But that pack's going to be pretty significant catching up to them, and I think they're going to do all right so far.
This is interesting because, like you said,
I see the line. Charles Johnson leading with Dean Wilkinson and Carl Engel. These guys are going to catch up to some of these guys, but I think they're going to pit right when they do catch up to them.
Yeah, I'm going to be very interested to see about Gabe and Steve, because they kind of broke away a bunch. So this isn't good, because a 2-truck draft is probably not as quick. So it's going to take a little bit for those other guys to get back up to them. They are closing the gap, but again, it's taking some time. And what's interesting, though, is these guys feel like they have the pace themselves. They feel like, hey, we can do our individual draft together, and we're going to gain time on the boot knocker. So they're betting on themselves right now with this strategy call right here by that 54-32 and company. And, of course, the other concern would be a timing of a yellow could come into play as well. But what I can tell you, though, is Everett Lane, he's picking up the draft quickly, and they're about there. So they're just about to pick up the draft, and then they'll have that big pack here once again. And I think that would be the time for these guys to pit if they don't have kind of almost someone spotting for them, if you will. I mean, that'd be about the time for these guys to hit pit road once that group gets all packed up together again.
Yeah, and I'm looking at
Duke
Conrad, who just got passed a little bit, but that was kind of the bridge, the gap to these guys, to where the 48 to 071. I think that was the bridge. As we see the group right now, Everett Lane, he wants to get on the outside, but I think these guys are just trying to slow up that speed just a little bit, or maybe they actually might want to race each other. But they are half a straightaway behind this big pack that has not stopped yet.
Yeah, and so this time when they finally got to speed, it was a 47.63 for Everett Lane compared to the 49.05 for Steve Korsak. That's the draft versus no draft. And also, we got another pack here hitting pit road. But I'm going to be watching these guys here as Seth Groover and company, because they are already rolling out of pit road. So the question is, can they get up to speed quick enough? As you see, it looks like the 54 is going to be out second, followed by Matt Wagner and then Jack Wall. So really, it's going to be, I'm going to be watching out the back of Seth. We're actually going to pull up the back of his truck here. And I think they've done it here, Chris. I think if they can get lined up quickly and build their speed up quick enough, because you can see that separation once again, I think they could potentially have control of this race as we build back up speed. But it's going to be busy here as they come out of turn number 4.
Yeah, I think what you got to do is you got to be able to block these guys with about 2 cars. I think you and another person definitely need to be able to block. As we see, very tight going in the corner, almost 3 wide with the 88. Oh, there's just a big wreck. But someone's going to be on the apron. I don't think that's going to be a caution. But, oh, man, that was just a big slap right there.
Oh, both the Groovers involved. And, yeah, they're both off track, so yellow will not come out for that. Not sure what happened to the two of them. We'll try to take another look here to see. So I'm going to try to find that on my timing and scoring here. So as they give me a moment here, it's going to take a little bit to try to hunt it down. Let's see. We're going to go to the Groovers. I'm too far back,
Honestly, I think they just got a little bit tight coming out the corner. It was just a little bit of drift up, a little bit of drift down, just ended up being a slap. And
I'm watching the 54 drifts up a little bit here. He's kind of high off too. You see one of them also kind of looks like going below the apron here. And then, just gets up into the side of Gabe Butler there. And then they find each other, unfortunately. So, it stayed off the racing service, so it stays green. So we go back live here as we still stay under green flag conditions. So what this has done, though, is after these guys have made their final pit stops, we still have, it looks like it's going to be tight here, but I think we're going to have 9 of the 10 trucks still in this main pack here. It's just going to really depend on if Dude Conrad and Nick Wing can kind of close that gap and get back up there to make it to the end here. A few drivers have yet to make their final pit stops here, and that would be Jeremy Osborne in that 41, Austin Nabel there in the 04 trucks. So they haven't pitted yet for their final time, but up front, though, these guys are good to let me rephrase this, Chris. These guys are good to the scheduled distance. We don't know how far they can go after that. Pitting at lap 58 to 61. So there's a 3-lap window now again between them. And of course also depends on how much fuel they put in those trucks as well. As I said, the Dude Conrad ran the fastest lap of the race, catching these guys with help from Nick Wing. So well done by those two. So they're going to get back in the mix. So this will give us 9 trucks back in the draft here. for the battle for the win here, as we're next time by, Chris, going to be 10 to go.
Yeah, it's going to get real dicey here in the second. We see Dude Conrad pulling Brandon Briggs and I believe Rudy Doden. Even if you're a lap down, you can still affect this race quite a bit. Not necessarily at other intermediate tracks or even short tracks, but here when it comes to pulling the whole train or pulling a whole another line around, lap car is definitely taking an effect. I see guys like Dude Conrad. His pit stops haven't been the best. He's definitely kind of lagged behind on the pit stops, and he's been getting lucky with the people that have been able to push him or the racing that has been going on for him to catch back up. And honestly, I think that's my dark horse for this race right now. It seems like everything's going right for him, just enough for him to hopefully not commentators jinx, but hopefully get up to the front and possibly finish with a podium.
I don't know if you can call any boot knocker a dark horse, I feel like, but no, I mean, it is a really good pick, and yeah, dude is definitely a very talented driver, and I'm going to go, I'd say if we're going to go, well, I feel like it's too easy because he's right there, but I'll say if we go non-boot knocker, I'd say Austin Call is going to be a good pick as well in that 64 truck, because the truck he has behind him, again, unfortunately something happened to Ryan midpoint in the race, not sure if he fell out or what happened, but Ryan is sitting in 30th right now, multiple laps down. However, like you said, lap cars can play a role here. You can have a teammate be your pusher, and I mean that can give you the shove to get to the front. So, and then when we say that to play a role in the race, we don't mean that negatively. We just mean like, hey, anybody and everybody you can draft, that's what you want to have. You want to basically steal any draft off any truck that's within reach of you. So, and if that winds up being a guy that's 2 laps down, 3 laps down, so be it. Like that's what you want. You want to get all the help you can. And then you mentioned also Rudy Doden, though, in that, Chris. Like you said, he now sits as the first truck 1 lap down. So, again, important for him to try to hold that spot here. But the thing is, the leaders are starting to catch other trucks. So it's going to start to get a little dicey, possibly for the Lucky Dog battle. But we're down to single digits here with 8 to go. It's just going to really be about kind of who decides to make the move first and where it's going to come from, which, I mean, right now, in my mind, it's got to be Austin Call is the only person that really can make a move because everybody else is pinned to the bottom here. So Jack Walls, he can't go anywhere even if he wanted to. And then I don't see Eric Laurie leaving the bottom away from his teammates. So I think right now it's really the 64, I think, is going to be the first one that can really make a move to try to see if he can win this race.
Gael, I think I'm gonna have to ask you. Do you think we're gonna get our trademarked green-white checker finish, or you think this is gonna finish on the green with what we got right now?
That is a good question. While we do that, let's poke through the field here and see how the packs look, because you see here's Bud Steele leading that second pack. He's in 10th place, but he's about 23 seconds off the field, and he's getting help from Giovanni Acapinti in that 000, then Jim Brooks. So they look like they're all nice single file in line here. Here's the next group being led by David Bone with Charles Johnson, Dean Wilkinson and company. Same thing. They're being pretty polite here. So really, I think if trouble's going to come, Chris, it's going to come, well, as I say that, they look 3-4 wide. So yeah, so I think there's definitely a potential of that potential green and white checker that you just talked about, because Austin Call, we said if there's going to be someone to go, it was going to be him. And he's going. He's got Matt Wagner there. And surprisingly, actually, he's got Dude Conrad as a pusher as well, which I would not have expected. And they are squeezing and wiggling, and
oh man, that was tight.
It's feeling green white checkerish to me right now, Chris.
Yeah, definitely, and it's just and there we go. We called it. I think we got a green white checker. That's Dude Conrad into the wall, unfortunately, and so is Matt Wagner and the 64.
Yeah, Austin Call, Gabe Butler involved, here. But that is the best news for about 20 other drivers in this field here. So, but let's go back here, and like you said, it looked like green white checkered, and yeah. Pretty much as soon as it was said, it got pulled up. So let's go back. Let's see how this all unfolded, because I don't think it was anything like malicious, to say the least. I think maybe just maybe a travel bump gone wrong, because watch the 27. He is right on that rear bumper of the 88. Wondering if maybe kind of just turned him a little bit off the front bumper. And actually, I don't know. Actually, it looks like it might be the other way around. It might be the 11 and the 64. The way they got hooked got them into Gabe. Unfortunately, and that's where it caused these guys to go around. You see there's the 11, the 071, I think just dodges it. You see Matt Wagner, Dude Conrad, Austin Call. There's where they all got involved. Gabe Butler as well. I'll say a tough night for Ryan Decker continues as he gets some damage out of that as well. So, but the question was, we talked about the first truck 1 lap down. I think at that point we were talking about being a Rudy Doden, and I think Rudy gets through this clean. So we'll jump back live here because it's now going to be strategy time for pit stops. So we're going to step away real quickly, get our commercial break in for our wonderful sponsor of 4D Racewear, and we'll be back here and see what our pit stop updates are. So stay tuned.
.4D Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. .4D racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 4dracewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim.
All right, so as you can see, we have a number of trucks that stay out, a number of trucks pitting in. As mentioned, Rudy Doden is our wave round, so that's going to put 19 trucks back on the lead lap, and we have many trucks that stayed out. Looks like the top 12 here, back to Dean Wilkinson, opted, you know what, we want that track position, 13th on back, maybe for fuel, maybe for damage repairs. They all went ahead and pitted here at lap 71, so that's going to be Matt Wagner, Jude Conrad, Austin Call, Gabe Butler, David Bone, and Gary Winters. So a lot of drivers hitting pit road there. Steve Korosek, though, he's going to hold on out front with the lead. And so now it's all about the strategy, Chris. Again, we talked about Steve and those guys, Everett Lane, Nick Wing, Eric Laurie. They pitted at 58. Jack Walls pitted at 61 in that number 83 Pennzoil truck. And then you go to Bud Steele. He was off that main pack, but he pitted at 63. So he's really the one who pitted the latest of all of these guys at the very, very front. Jim Brooks and company there, these guys pitted at 62. Charles Johnson was 63 as well. Dean Wilkinson. And these are the two I'm going to watch, is these two TW Motorsports trucks here, Chris, because they've pretty much been out of the draft from the get-go. This is the one break that they needed. I think they're going to make something happen here because, I mean, we know Dean's not no secret of his. I'll say he knows victory lane very well. Charles Johnson, when he's able to make the races, he is always a threat as well. So I think this is the break that they were wanting and that they were looking for. So it's going to be fun to see what we have here because it's also going to break up the boot knockers a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit, because you're going to have Steve Korosek there. You're going to have Everett Lane, and you're going to have Eric Laurie. So you still have three of them together here. But then you have Jack Walls. I feel like he's kind of almost an independent driver, if you will. And then, honestly, I'm curious to see because I don't feel like there's any big organization from some of the other drivers here. So it's going to be fun to see. And another thing you mentioned is it looks like Steve's opted to take the top line on this restart here. So I think some strategy here to maybe try to get themselves all lined up together. But actually, two I see lined up top behind those guys, Chris, is Bud Steele, Jim Brooks, Charles Johnson. These guys are some of the founding members of Area 51. Even if they're not official teammates, I could see them saying, you know what, let's work together. Let's get one of us to victory lane here if they get the opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. As we're getting ready to come to green, I see this being 3 wide by the time we get to the back stretch, and I see this possibly going one more green light checker. But I like the idea of what we got brewing from 5th on back.
Oh no, it's gonna get fun here. Like I said, yeah, we talked about not a lot of 3 wide action early. This is when that third lane comes into play. So it's about time to happen. And like we talked about, a lot of drivers weren't really showing their hand yet. Unfortunately, that wreck happened as some of those drivers were. Like we talked about the 64, the 11. They were starting to make that move, and just unfortunately some contact from that aggressive pushing kind of Wound up hurting a handful of guys there, but you see Jack Walls, he is ready. I don't think you could get a piece of paper between that 24 and the 83 here. So Jack is ready to go here on this restart. And we'll have to double check, Chris. I'm not sure if this is going to be an official green-white checkered or an unofficial, because we are going to restart with 2 to go. So it would be green-white checkered, but it might still be in the original 75 laps. So we'll have to see what the lap counters say at the end of this one. I'm not sure offhand, but we're getting to it. Here we go, guys.
I think you call that a raw green-white checkered because not necessarily manufactured. But here we go, going up through the gears. Seems like the 071 got a bad start, and Jim Brooks decided not to make it 3 wide, but that's definitely going to hurt that outside line. But I think once these guys get it gathered up, we're going to see a huge shove once these guys try to form that 3 wide line. But I see Bud Steele doing pretty well right now, sticking with it. I'm just waiting for whoever's going to drop out to that 3rd line.
Well, I'm watching that 000. He got from the bottom to the middle right away. Great move by Giovanni here. And I think he's going to be the one. No, actually, he won't have a chance because Bud Steele's going to get up there before he can. There goes Jim Brooks. He's going to go up there with him. Charles Johnson's going to go with him, just like we kind of had a feeling it might happen. But actually now, squeeze there by the 000 and the 6. They all hang on to it. A little bit of momentum loss, though. So now, of course, the other thing they mentioned, though, is if we get to the white at that point, all bets are off. But if we get a yellow here before they get to the line, and it looks like yellow, we're going to get that yellow here. Caution is not out.
It's I know we have chaos behind us, but it's kind of amazing.
All right, I think caution
right now.
I believe caution has come out. Pretty much the field involved in that one. And
the only 2 cars that made the line was Everett Lane and Steve Korsak. Those are the only 2 guys that came around after the whole wreck. Everyone else had to either check up or be part of the wreck. Yeah, that's amazing. That
was a monster wreck here. We're gonna go back. We're gonna try to catch as much as we can here, because the other part is the timing of this yellow. It seemed fairly late to me, honestly, Chris, before I saw the yellow flag fly on my end. But let's go back. Let's take a look here. And it looks like just a little bit of movement, a little bit of squeezing. Again, what you expect to see at the end of these races. I think it may have started around the 000. You see that chrome truck behind Eric Laurie. He kind of drifts down a little bit. Yeah, he catches the right rear of the 028. And then at that point, Eric Laurie gets caught. That catches Jack Walls. It's just each truck catching the corner of another truck. And then Jack, unfortunately, comes back up and catches that guy as well. And then everybody's just trying to find space. You see Charles Johnson almost has it saved. Same thing for the 028. He almost gets there. And then you see a bunch of trucks here going through the grass. I think we'll watch Austin Calls. I think he just squeezes by here along with Gary Winters. And then somewhere in all of this is Bud Steele. Oh, he's stuck up against the wall. I see him now there. So we have a bunch of trucks hitting pit road here, Chris, getting fast repairs most likely. 2 stay out, of course, Steve Korsak, Everett Lane. But yeah, that's the big one. And then some. Oh, there's a big hits for Jim there, as well as Dean Wilkinson, unfortunately. So yeah, pretty much that's a track blocker. That's the big one. And then some, unfortunately, for a number of those trucks there. So we'll jump back live here and try to get this all sorted out.
Yeah, I don't know how many tow trucks we got going on the field right now, but I guess if we're still in the center yellow, if you don't mind going to Duke Conrad, go to his end car. I kind of want the fans to see what this is like, kind of pretty much in real time. Duke Conrad was probably inches away from clearing this whole thing and being possibly in the top 5, top 3 right now. But as you see him kind of go through the motions right here, it's kind of a mess, and then it's clear for a half second, and then it's just a big wreck.
Yeah, almost good, and then all of a sudden all you see is bright yellow, and you know you're in it, unfortunately. So yeah, so not what Dude was hoping for there. He gets a good piece, also even the inside wall at the end there as well. So yeah, that was a big one to put it nicely, unfortunately, and that was kind of, and I kind of had, like you said, it kind of had that feel to you especially. And it's also one of those situations where when you don't have that opportunity, where you haven't had a chance to go for the win there, and then you get that yellow that changes everything. It's like, all right, we got this and everything. So what it does do, though, is, again, it shakes up the field. The 2 that I'm looking at now, that we saw Matt Wagner kind of sliding around the grass, his truck does not look too bad here, Chris, that 11 truck. Little scuffs here and there. The 66 Gary Winters, he looks pretty much pristine there. I think he's in good shape here. Gabe Butler, kind of same as Matt, maybe a little bit of dents and dings here and there a little bit. And then you go to some of the guys that had that pitted there under the yellow. You see the 071 Eric Laurie. His truck looks good as well. Then from David Bone on back, these guys went ahead and pitted, I believe, probably fast repairs all around for these trucks here. The 33, the 83, the 64, the 6 and company. So these guys are kind of getting it back here. So what this does, though, is this puts us back under caution. This is for sure, we know, green, white, checkered finish at this point. And so we want to explain for those that maybe aren't familiar. Again, I probably do it every week, so apologies for that. However, the way it works is green flag comes out. Next lap is the white flag. If they get to the white flag clean, at that point it is an official race. They get to whoever gets the checkered flag within reason, of course, will be declared the winner. However, if there's a correct like there, what happened right before the start finish line, if the caution comes out, they'll freeze the field. They'll do it 3 times, and on that 3rd time, if there's still an incident there on the final time, they'll freeze the field, and that will be the results at the finish. So I believe this is either attempt number 1 or 2, Chris. We're not 100% sure based on the lap count. So we'll have to wait and see here. But what we do know is front row here is going to be Steve Krosek and Everett Lane. I know they are in the same Discord together, so I would expect them to try to work together as best they can. Row 3, you've got teammates there of Eric Laurie and Gabe Butler. And then in the middle between those groups are the 11 and the 66 Matt Wagner and Gary Winters. We'll see if they can find some sort of alliance. Or do you just kind of push, kind of your best friend is whoever can help you kind of a situation here, Chris? So, but it's going to be, like you said, that 3rd line is going to be happening pretty quickly here, I think, once they get through the gears.
Yeah, definitely. And, Gary Winters, someone that we haven't really seen at all in the top 10, I think, tonight. And at least I really haven't seen his truck, at all tonight. So if I was him, I have a chance. I might as well risk it for that 3rd line. And I'm looking at the car that's pushing me. That'd be the 88. I might want to see if he wants to go first and try to block that 3rd line and then go ahead and have him push me around. But you definitely got to, start taking account of all the people that are directly behind you as you're getting ready to go green.
Yeah, we'll see. So we got teammates, of course, kind of split up a little bit, but you'll never know how it's going to shake out. We'll have to watch fuel as well as Steve Krosek gets through the gears here, builds back up to speed as we are on a green, white checkered attempt right now, 27-24, still side by side. Now we wait to see as the momentum builds. Right now, nobody really latched on together nicely. Now the 66 latches on very nicely to the 24. This is going to give Steve a great push here through 1 and 2. Now Matt Wagner lines up to Steve Krosek. He gives him a shot. Watch Eric Laurie here. He has an opportunity. He could jump in front of his teammate Gabe Butler should he choose to, but so far staying committed to the inside line, and we've got a drag race here down the back.
Yeah, looking to see if that 3rd line forms. I know Eric Laurie had a chance to go all the way up top, but we'll see the 88. See if he wants to push this line. No, he goes 3. This is our 3 right now. I think he's going to try to go ahead. Maybe a little bit of a block right there. Try to get there, but Steve Everett Lane. So now it's 3. So it's 2 in the middle. 3 all the way up top. The rest of the field, and we have another wreck right behind.
Oh, yeah, wreck is out. Caution is out. That is going to freeze the field once more here, and we'll see how they get ordered up here for this next restart here. Because, again, we talked about those green-white checkers. It's going to come into play once more. Unfortunately, you see that pace truck. It's hustling out there trying to get in front of Steve Krosek. He's drifting through the turns there. Some of these trucks wish they could go through the infield as quick as that truck is going. And that is one impressive iRacing pace truck and pace truck driver. So big shout to those guys because that's, I think, bypassing any and all forms of physics that they were just able to do there. So
yeah, if they go any faster, we might have to refuel that car too, just like the IndyCar race.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. So we're going to go back. I think it was around Patrick Groover, if I'm not mistaken. Or no, actually, I'm sorry, it'd be Seth Groover where it occurred. I think Patrick may have retired, unfortunately. Let's pull up. There's that 30, the yellow jersey truck here. You see, oh yeah, the 90. I say looks like they get hooked together, and that puts them up into the outside wall and caught another truck as well. Can't quite. It was the 80 truck, okay, that caught the 32. We're gonna try and see who that 3rd truck involved was in there, and then when it's not your day, it's not your day. And for Jason Bogart, it has just not been his day. Unfortunately, he gets a piece of that one as well. So unfortunately, a few more trucks involved in this one. And yeah, so that's going to put us back under yellow. I don't expect to see a lot of strategy here for this caution. So what we will do here, we'll peek and see if anybody has to jump onto pit road, but I think we'll see most of the field stay out. Oh, Steve Krosek, he has to pit from the lead as he was going to run out of fuel. So this is a big storyline. And I believe this actually puts Matt Wagner in the 11 truck to the point. So We're not on the one to go, so stay tuned. We're going to go back to caution or commercial here real quick, and we'll rejoin you in just a moment.
.40 Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. .40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim.
All right, lights still on the pace car, but you can see the number of trucks here rolling the apron, including Everett Lane, who pitted at lap 58, Eric Laurie, who pitted at lap 58. Everybody else pitted around 71 or later. Unfortunately, the one truck that did hit pit road there was Steve Korosek. I mean, that's a heartbreaker for Steve. He's been in front, in control, pretty much this entire race. But like you said here, Chris, we were talking off air there about the green-white checkers. We believe this will be number 2. So I believe if we get one more wreck here, that would put us into that 3rd attempt. So really can't count anybody out as of yet. As you see, again, these guys just trying to roll the apron, just save every ounce of fuel they can, which again makes the concern, though. Are they going to potentially sputter as they come out of 3 and 4 or on the backstretch? I mean, there's a lot of potential for chaos here. But what I do see, though, is you're going to have Everett Lane and Eric Laurie lined up on the outside line, Gary Winters and Matt Wagner on the inside, and then that third row you got Gabe Butler and the 83 of Jack Walls. David Bone also, we mentioned him in that earlier wreck from the, I believe, the kind of the unofficial green-white checkered, and Jack Walls as well. They're back right outside the top 5, so really good opportunities for these guys still to get a great result. And let me look at this. Here's Dean Wilkinson and Charles Johnson back together again as well, with Bud Steele right in front of them. I mean, it's almost like we're kind of doing back to that first green-white checkered for the most part with where these guys were positioned after that yellow. So this is going to be interesting, and yeah, I'm getting confirmation. Thank you, favorite son. This is indeed green-white checker number 2 of 3. So yeah, so again, control here, Chris, goes to the 11 truck. Do you go early, try to break everybody up, or do you need to wait and keep everybody packed together? I mean, what's the strategy? What's the thoughts here? Because you also know some of these guys around you are a little bit close on fuel. I mean, what do you think you do here as a competitor?
Oh, I don't know. I think just because you know that you have to go, if someone's going to run out of fuel, you'll instantly know it. You can hopefully dodge yourself out the way. But if you're one of the front runners, you really got to make sure you're consistent. I would say just hold your line and have everyone go around you. As long as you let them know, I think that'd be fine. We saw Steve Corset go in the pits, so it was a very respectful decision instead of kind of just sitting up here. But I also saw 24. Not sure, he pit on lap 59, so he might be one of the guys that might run out here. But for a chance to win, I would stay out, risk it for the biscuit.
Yeah, I mean, you got to go for it when you have the opportunities here. So we'll see here. Again, this is attempt number 2. Matt Wagner, our leader. Everett Lane on the outside here. It looks like he will wait for that restart zone until it tells him to go green, and we are down and away. Check it attempt number 2. And Everett Lane a little quicker through the gears here as they start to build up speed here. And also great push by Eric Laurie here. And I think Everett can clear it if he wants to, but actually staying committed to his teammate there on the outside line. I really thought that would be the way to go, is protect the inside line, because look at the momentum shift now going back towards the bottom here. And there's that third lane. Dean Wilkinson already taking that third lane. He's got Charles Johnson and one further truck in tow. And I can't quite make out who that is. Might be Jacob Lee, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that is Jacob Lee. I apologize in 21. You're gonna look at Dean Wilkinson here, Chris. While we're trying to figure out who it was, Dean's got his nose up ahead to the lead here as they go 3x3, 4 trucks deep here, coming through the 3 and 4, potentially to catch the white flag here.
Yeah, Matt was a little bit loose. He wasn't necessarily holding that yellow line, and the 66 almost tagged him there. But this is it. This is after anything that happens after this is going to be the end of the race. As the 24 knocked 11, went right back around. And it looked like Dean Wilkinson from out of nowhere.
So now
to win this race.
Well, we'll see, because it's right now it's really between Dean and Charles Johnson, but Jack Walls, Austin Call, they are hooked together here. So can these two get enough draft to pull back up to them? And will Charles stay committed to Dean here for the win? We'll have to wait and see. But I'm watching Jack here. He is closing this gap here, Chris, as we are one to go.
This is Kozlowski at Talladega all over again.
Here goes Charles. He's going to try to block. Jack's going to go up higher. Charles, no. Contact.
That was a big bump right there. 3 wide. 3 wide coming for it. 64 is on the yellow line. I don't know if we have that rule, but 64 edging it. The 83. Oh my gosh, this is for the photo finish.
I think Jack Walls got it at the line, and yeah, I mean, I'll say we'll have to let the admins make the call on if it was below the white line or not, but it winds up not being for the win. So I believe officially Jack Walls will be tonight's winner. So let's go back first off and let's take a look at that finish coming to the flag, because we didn't get the best angle of that one. Gonna have to fire the broadcaster on that one, because we didn't get a great view of it. So let's pick up the pace here, and we'll take one more look here at this view. As they say, you're going to see Charles Johnson. He's going to try to block the momentum here. He's going to go top. Jack's going to go higher. Just catches the right rear of Charles. Charles, amazing save. And then, yeah, there's the move by the 64. He goes low. Dean tries to block it. And then just a little bit of pinball action here. And then let's slow it down here. And we'll take a closer look at the line to see how tight it indeed is. Because, let's see. Actually, we'll pull it up. I'm trying to find the better angle here.
Oh,
there's a good angle here. And right there, it is Jack Walls by maybe half a nose. And then it's another half a nose to Dean Wilkinson. But I feel pretty certain saying that Jack Walls is our race winner. And he's definitely saying I'm the race winner, because he is doing those donuts in the front stretch. And so before we get to our interviews, we're going to have to pull up our final results for tonight here, Chris. And it's going to be Jack Walls over Austin Call, Dean Wilkinson by 9 12 of a second. Then you got Charles Johnson, David Bowen rounding out our top 5. And remember we talked about Steve Krosek having to pit there on that last caution? He somehow comes back to finish in 6th, Gabe Butler 7th, Jacob Lee 8th, Duke Conrad 9th, and Bob Fitzgerald getting the lucky dog. He brings home a top 10. And it's going to be heartbreakers for some of those guys like Matt Wagner, Eric Laurie, not being able to go for the win there at the end, Everett Lane. Then you got Bud Steele, Nick Wing, Gary Winters, Jim Brooks, and Rudy Doden, all not able to make it to the finish, finishing a lap or more down. And we'll continue on here. We'll also go back. We haven't forgotten. We will also go back and take a look at that final wreck as well. And then in 19th, you've got Jeremy Osborne, Aubrey Thompson, Seth Groover, Brandon Briggs, Carl Lingle, William Bogart, Jason Bogart, apologies, Frank Ranger, Todd Merkel, Ryan Decker, Giovanni Acapinti, Ambrose Nabel, Quavi Brooks, Patrick Groover, and Hondo Longmire, unfortunately, with some issues, retired early as well. So, Chris, we talked about the wreck there as well. Let's go back and let's take a look at that big one as well, because unfortunately that also kind of changed the outcome of this one for a handful of guys. And you have here it is. Let's go back a little further, get a better look at it, because it looks like it's just, once again, we talked about just an off-centered push, unfortunately, with the 11 and the 66, I believe it was. And again, nothing and egregious, nothing intentional. Just unfortunately, these guys just trying to do all they can. Get a good look at it here. You can see already the offset between the 66 and the 11, and then right here you can see the complete separation. And when they try to get locked back on together, just nothing that they can do. Catches the 24, catches the 071. You see Gabe Butler. He's going to try to get as low as he can, and I believe, well, he makes it through the first portion of it. You see, there's Jack Walls as well as the 64 and the 48 and the 33. I'm going to go, let's find Gabe here, because he did some off-roading, but I think he winds up surviving through all this. Or does he? No, he doesn't. He drifts up and catches the 48 hard, trying to get back up to speed. And then just some drafting, and yeah. So unfortunately, that was what caught Gabe out. I thought something had gone on there, and then unfortunately a handful of other drivers there caught up in it. So let's jump back, though, Chris, and let's go. We got to chat with some drivers here. So we'll start off with Dean Wilkinson. because that was wild.
That was absolutely insane.
Got to find him. He was hiding over there. So we're gonna grab Dion over him. I'm having troubles here tonight, Chris. But we'll jump back here. We're gonna kind of focus up on that number 55 machine. There he is. Let's pull Dean on over here. And Dean, this was a wild one. I mean, I say we were kind of commenting. You and Charles just initially looked like just kind of cruising towards the back as part of the plan, but then a couple more times, I don't think that was really your guys' game plan. But then the caution comes out towards the end, and I mean it's a whole different race. I mean, unfortunately, I kind of commentators cursed you guys where it's like, all right, look, they're up here together, they're lined up, they're gonna make something happen. You guys get taken out, and then 2 green white checkers later, you're pretty much in the identical spot. And this time you put it to use there, get to that third lane, and just make a huge charge down the backstretch. And then, of course, after the white comes out, you guys get through that wreck. But then the momentum shift with the 83 and the 64, and then just kind of all hell broke loose there out of 3 and 4 and coming to the tri-oval there for the win. I mean, take us through the race and then take us through kind of what you saw, then didn't see, and then saw again there at the end.
Well, you called it exactly. We decided to stay at the back and just ride around, and then we got disconnected from the pack. And then for most of the race, we were just trying to stay ahead and not get a lap down. We did a good job doing that, getting ahead of a few trucks here and there. And yeah, we were praying for that caution. We were praying, and we're like, oh, we're not going to get it. Like, what's going on? Everybody's spread out. There's not going to be a caution. Then it came out. So yeah, we definitely got lucky. And yeah, the end, we started again back in the same position where we whatever that was, 14th, 15th, 18th, something like that. And yeah, no, it was a good race.
Yeah, Dean, very, very good race from you. Coming out of 3 and 4, it felt like shades of the Dale Jr. Carl Edwards from Talladega from, I think, like 2009. But unfortunately, you lost Charles Johnson. I think he tried to go for a bit of a block, and you were going to be a sitting duck for those two for a while until they decided to split up. And right at the end, it looked like you were just maybe 6 feet short of being able to get that little bit of that air pressure to get back up in front. But coming to the end, what was your strategy? Were you going to try to block anybody, or were you just trying to figure out how to get to the line?
Honestly, I didn't know there was anybody behind us. So I thought it was just myself and Charles. I thought everybody wrecked behind us. And when I saw him go to the right, and I thought, okay, well, he's going to try to pass me to win. Okay. And then I saw Jack, and I didn't know who the other driver was. At that point, I was just trying to I wasn't trying to block. I was just trying not to connect with anybody. I didn't want to wreck. So, yeah, I'm very happy to take a third, and Charles is very happy to take a fourth, considering where we were.
Yeah, it was a pretty wild one at the end. And saying the other thing, obviously, is saying actually we can get a pretty good view of it here. Was there's kind of the decision of obviously with the no passing below the yellow line rule. Obviously, don't know officially. I can't make a call on it on my side as a broadcaster if it officially is or not. So waiting to get hopefully get some official call between that, because I mean it could bump you up into a runner-up spot with Charles then jumping to third. But
I'll throw it out there. I think I pushed him down there. Because when I saw him, I was trying to, not that I was trying to block him, I was just trying not to get into Jack. So I don't know. I don't know if he really had a choice but to go that way.
Well, we're going to go with the unofficial stuff for now, because we won't be able to make the calls. But I mean, it was a hell of a run by you and Charles there at the end to make that run to the front. And not unexpected by any means. Like I said, I kind of expected to see it on that first kind of unofficial green-white checkered attempt, but unfortunately you guys got caught up in it. But then, I mean, just an amazing recovery to get back after it there and make the right move at the right time. And like you said, looked like it was going to be just between the two of you guys, and just unfortunately, I say, for a few guys snuck through a little bit to give you guys a little bit of extra trouble at the end, but definitely made it wild there at the end. So great job, Dean. And definitely before we let you go, though, we definitely want to give you the floor for any thanks and shouts for that run here tonight.
Mr. Johnson, of course, because without him, we would have been, we wouldn't have got it what we were. We worked well tonight. Congrats to Mr. Walls for the win. That was a good job. And thank you guys for the broadcast. Always like going back and watching that. And I can't thank enough to the drivers. We had a good bunch of drivers tonight, so it made for a really good, fun race. Yeah, and thank you, Area 51, for putting on the lead.
All right, well, great job tonight, Dean. Great teamwork with you and Charles there at the end. And definitely looking forward to seeing more of you over the course of the season, man.
Have a great night.
Thanks for you too. All right, so that is our third place driver of Dean Wilkinson. So now we're going to jump over to our unofficial second place driver. Again, we can't make calls, so it's we'll see what it is once things are said and done. But we're going to pull up Austin Call here in second. And Austin, this was quite the up and down day for you. You did everything right. You're in position there at the end. You go to that third lane to try to make some stuff happen there to go for the lead once kind of tires and fuel, everything's out of the way. And get caught up in that wreck, and then things don't go well for you for some of those green, white checkers. And then you somehow get through that last one there after the white flag comes out. And then, I mean, you and Jack just a little extra draft you're able to pick up off of Dean and Charles. I mean, you guys were hauling the mail there. And, I mean, you guys, obviously, you able to push Jack enough to get him to the front and then grab you a second spot as well. I mean, just take us through the race and then kind of the initial wreck there that kind of triggered the green, white checkers and then just what you had to do there from the end to even get a chance to get back to the front because you were busy tonight.
I think my race was just kind of a race full of highlights. Because I mean, I don't really know what happened in the one that triggered the green and white checkers with Matt. I think it was just bad push, but I mean, you're going that aggressive at the end of the race. There's no problem with that. I mean, it's just aggressive pushing. Sucks to get wrecked, but worked out. But other than that, I mean, Matt at the beginning of the race getting me loose, that was incredibly scary. I don't know how I saved that. I went over the mic saying I should probably submit that for save of the year. And then, I mean, the C's parted for me twice. And then on that second green white check, the last restart, I was running the high lane, and Ryan starts yelling at me like, "Jump middle, jump middle." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And I finally jump middle, and that's exactly when the wreck happens. So then Ryan followed me right through, and I obviously got to thank him for getting me down to the middle lane before the wreck happened, getting me through that, got me second place.
Yeah, amazing finish right there with that last couple laps, plus the green white checkers that happened. Seemed like you definitely need to use some of those dew wipes throughout the race, but you definitely had a pretty good performance just overall during the race, and even with the pit stops that were happening. Was there some strategy calls there with the pit stops? We know some guys like pitted early, the short pit, and then we had some people go longer, with a little bit of a longer distance of the pit stops. Was there any, conflicts that you had with what, who you wanted to pit with and why?
Well, obviously my team wanted to put together. That's Jim, Bud, Ryan, and Nicholas Wing, and then in Koabi, but he was out by the time we were getting pit stops. But our plan was to hopefully pit together, but what ended up happening is just we had to pit with the boot knockers. Is if you didn't pit with them, you were probably going to lose the pack. I know a few times I got stuck a few seconds behind two of them. I think it was Kurosek and Butler, and we would have to like push up to them and burn a little bit of fuel, and they got to save a little bit more. And so it pretty much just turned into follow what Gabe and Steven did and hope it worked out.
I mean, the strategy looked like, obviously you guys were in contention there at the end. I mean, there was, I think, about a 9 truck breakaway at the end prior to the yellows. So, I mean, you guys did everything you had to, and it was very interesting to see kind of, the pit strategy of pit with them, maybe go a little longer and see if you can kind of maybe try to do the overcut, if you will. But, a great result tonight, able to grab that runner-up spot here tonight. So definitely want to give you the floor, though, for any thanks and shouts for that result tonight.
Well, I obviously got to thank my teammates that helped me, especially Ryan with making that jump middle call. And I got to thank my family for letting me do these races. I know my brother wanted to get on here at 8 my time, which is about an hour ago, because he usually has something going on, but my stuff takes priority. And I got to thank my grandma. She watches all my races. She's watching right now. She's already texted me, congratulating me for second. So yeah, that's.
Nah, that's awesome. Well, say definitely shout out to Grandma. Glad to have you on here. Say feel free to create a YouTube account and chat along with us if you want, because you can be like, hey, show Austin more, and we'll definitely oblige. So, but no, I mean, great job though tonight, Austin. Like I said, I mean, a lot of stuff going on tonight, some ups and downs, but able to pull it up there with a great result tonight. So, go enjoy this one. Go find your family, and we'll chat with you again soon, hopefully.
All right, thank you.
All right, Chris, that leaves one last truck to talk to, and it's this bright yellow and black truck that he likes this oil, and for whatever reason, he's very, very successful in it. And Jack, I mean, that was wild there. You see this huge wreck in front of you. You just sneak on through that, and then, I mean, are you seeing the momentum down the back stretch, thinking just like, this is looking good, and then of course you have to make the moves there to try to sneak around Charles with the momentum you had. I mean, just take us through kind of the thought process there, coming through that white flag lap and trying to get to that checker flag first.
Yeah, I thought I didn't have a chance coming on that last lap until the cars parted in front of me like the seas and Moses there, and somehow I made it through. But then I thought I was too far behind the lead two cars. But it looked like Austin got behind me, and he gave me a push up to those guys. And I went to the outside, and I said, I'm not going to let up. If anyone pulls over in front of me, they're just going to just have to pay the price, whatever it is. And because I've been down that road before with other drivers, and I hated to see that it was Charles. But he made a great recovery, though. That was a great recovery for him. So I was really surprised there, because coming to the start-finish line, I think I was in third place at the time, and I guess I still had momentum because of Austin and Dean getting together. Maybe that slowed those guys down just enough to give me the win.
Yeah, Jack, you were effectively position 8 as you came across the line before you grabbed the checker flag here. Amazing finish to not only just miss the wreck and everything, but just to get back around, catch up to two guys that seemingly were almost pretty much gone for the rest of the field there, and come away with the win. You literally just came out of nowhere and kind of just stole that from Dean Wilkinson. To be honest with you, when you were coming across, and I think coming up to Charles Johnson, I know you guys had a little bit of contact there, but was your mind just I wanted to win, or was it, let me just get across this finish line?
No, at that point, coming out of turn 4, I wanted to win, and I started to head towards the outside. And like I said, I've been in that position before, and if you when somebody pulls out in front of you, if you end up trying to go outside of them, you usually end up losing. So I said, well, this time I'm just going to keep my line and keep my foot on the gas, and whatever happens, happens. And fortunately, it worked out for me, but unfortunately, it didn't work out for Charles. But still, again, I'm glad to see that he got 4th place there.
Yeah, it was a great run for you, Jack. And like I said, it's something with you and these yellow trucks, man. It works well for you. So before we let you go, definitely want to give you the floor for any thanks and shouts for that win here tonight at Daytona.
Well, as usual, I got to thank Pennzoil for giving me the bright yellow truck and for putting me in the victory lane here tonight.
All right, well, great job tonight, Jack. Go enjoy this one, and look forward to seeing you on track here again soon, sir.
Okay, thank you. Have a good night.
All right, Chris. So that is our race winner in that number 83 of Jack Walls. And man, I mean, it got wild here tonight at the end, but say Jack found a way to kind of sneak through all of that and get the big win. And say obviously a great result for a handful of these guys, but like I said, you're gonna have that other side. I mean, there's heartbreak for a few of those guys when you're going for your first Area 51 win and you feel like you're in contention. And say those will sting a little bit, but just I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things you just gotta keep at it. It's gonna make that once you do get it, just all that more sweeter, I feel like.
Oh yeah, that was. I think we get that first one. It's the sweetest one, but whenever you get something that's as close as what happened here with Jack Walls, and honestly just the top 3 in general, when that one happens, when you lose it, when you win it, when you come in third, each of those feel just great. I know if you're leading it and you lose it, it kind of hurts, but at the same time you're like, man, I could have been in a much worse position. I could have been kind of like somebody like Matt Wagner. He was in front of this at the beginning of it. He was on that bottom line and pretty much leading us to the checkered there. And unfortunately, he got turned, and all hell broke loose, to put it lightly. But whenever you were able to finish a race as chaotic as that and finish on the podium, let alone win, it's honestly one of those feelings that it just does not go away. You'll be thinking about that pretty much all week.
Yeah, no, it's and that's what brings us out here. It kind of gives you that adrenaline rush that you like to have sometimes, and without the risk of injury and all that. So it's a lot of fun. But so say that's going to be the Jack Walls, Austin Call, Dean Wilkinson, our top three. Dean also our highest climber, 28 spots gained tonight, up into that third position. Charles Johnson tried to grab it from him as well, but he fell short with 21 spots gained up to fourth. So great job by the two of them though as well. Like you mentioned, Bob Fitzgerald rounding out our top 10 there. He got 19 spots gained as well in the 08. So great job by those guys. But Chris, that's race 2 under our belts here for us here with the Green White Checker TV and Area 51 Racing League. We'll be back on air on Thursday night for the Xfinity cars. I believe Boomer Logan will be calling the shots over there. And of course, not broadcasted, but if you're looking for some open wheel racing Tuesday nights, it will be the Dark Horse Area 51 Open Wheel Series with the IR18. So definitely check those out as well. But Chris, as always, appreciate you hopping on here with me. It's always fun to do these with you. And of course, everybody that watched and supports us, chats along with us, really appreciate all of your guys' kind of inputs and just kind of hanging out with us. It's always a fun thing to do. So again, hope you all are doing well. As always, stay safe, take care. And of course, obviously tomorrow, definitely kind of think about thoughts and prayers and everything for the unfortunate anniversary of September 11th. So definitely thoughts and prayers go out to the loved ones that were involved in that. But so take care, stay safe, and have a good night, everyone.